We have to stop beating around the bush with these people. They are deranged. And I've seen them on the street, and it is like an end-of-world cult. I've seen them forming circles. I've seen them swaying back and forth as they preach about end times. They were, chanting, "What are you going to do when the world gets hot? What?" At bemused commuters who are thinking, who the hell are these lunatics? And they hand out these leaflets saying the truth. And the truth, of course, is that there will be a future of plagues and pestilence and fire and hunger. I mean, it is fire and brimstone stuff. I was brought up Catholic, and they make Catholics, I've survived, they make Catholics look like rank amateurs. I mean, these are really deranged people. But I've seen them in Trafalgar Square howling. I mean, actually howling with pain at the horrible future that mankind is creating for itself.
I had verbal intercourse with one, actually, coming in, and because there were a few of them hanging around, more policemen than demonstrators. And that's the interesting thing. There aren't that many of them, but they are becoming a nuisance.
Well, I saw a group of children walking around the streets saying, "You will die of old age, I will die of climate change." I think it is grotesque the way that we have brought up a group of children to be traumatised in this way, to believe that they are shortly about to die as a result of some climate catastrophe. But by the way, you know what? I walked through Trafalgar Square, and let me tell you, Extinction Rebellion were kicking up a stink. It's not what they were saying. They'd rescheduled their annual bath. It's time to put the stink bombs back where they deserve.
Okay,
these are, James, these are sad individuals. They're wrong individuals. They're people who are the enemy of progress. And let me give you a really sad fact. Or actually a shocking fact. We've lifted 1 billion people out of poverty since 1990 as a result of a modern industrial revolution. Greta Thunberg, rich kid on a £4 million yacht, turns up and says, we need to stop economic progress. Easy for you to say if you're rich, rather harder to say if you're a subsistence farmer in Nigeria.
We need to do something about it. Business knows we've got to do something about it. We are seriously doing something about it. Government is serious about something to do about it. So everybody
I disagree, actually, because
you don't think so?
I don't agree, because I think if anybody actually took it seriously, right, there'd be no cars on the road. There would be no aeroplanes in the sky.
No, I'm not having that,
James. Can I say this?
Not having that.
The internal combustion engine, our reliance on fossil fuels are doomed. It's all going to end as a result of technological advancement.
Exactly.
These people oppose technological advancement. They want to go back to the Stone Age.
The vast majority of young people at school haven't really taken part in all these demonstrations. A lot of them have nicked off school because it's a good idea and done other things.
Well, I think we do have to point out there's so much self-pity among the young generation. They don't know they're born. Let's be honest about this. I mean, my parents' generation, who came to the UK in 1970, they had an outside toilet. Young people don't know what an outside toilet is. They struggled really hard. There were slums in the 60s and 70s. No, hold on. There were slums in the 60s and 70s. There aren't slums today. There was extreme poverty back then in the baby boomer generation. And we blame the baby boomers for everything, but they lived in poverty.
When I was a youngster in London, there were bomb sites. Okay, and I'm not nearly as old as Mark, but there were bomb sites. And to be right, we have now got onto a situation where, how do people live without a mobile phone? Well, we had phone boxes at the end of the street. We didn't even have phones in the house quite often. So we've come on by leaps and bounds. And maybe what's happened, and I don't know, I'm putting it out there, maybe what's happened is life is really a lot easier now than it used to be. Yeah. So people are looking for things to worry about.
Do you know what I think? And I hate to be profound here. I think it's partly to do with the death of religion. I think that people need a new religion, a new thing to believe in, now that people don't go to church or don't go to synagogue or whatever anymore.
I seriously worry that the middle classes in this country have gone mental because they're on the street. Swaying back and forth and screaming about the end of the world. Not all of them, but some of them. Yeah. Or they're going absolutely nuts about Brexit, which I'm sure we'll come on to. And so there is this kind of hysteria amongst middle class people. And then they have the nerve to turn around to anyone who voted for Brexit and say that we're mad. But we're not in Trafalgar Square howling like wolves. We're not dressed up in these red outfits moping around about the end of the world.
Shall we do a bit about Brexit? It's good news because it looks like there is a deal coming. And it looks like we can leave, thank goodness, on the 31st of October. So we're all rocking and rolling to that. Mark.
Well, I tell you what, Boris might just have done it. And it's interesting because he's a divisive figure. I mean, back in the day, he was the Heineken politician, reaching a few too many parts, we discovered. Now he is the Marmite politician. He's divisive. But if he delivers Brexit, gets it over the line, the whole country will sigh a big sigh of relief, and I think he'll be a national hero.
Yeah. And I will have a word with Nigel to make sure the Brexit Party don't interfere.
Yeah, I know.
Because I think that would be a very good idea. Matthew.
Yeah, good luck with that then, because the question is, who knows what's going to happen next? It feels like every day it changes. 2 days ago, it was all off. I was in Europe in the Parliament. Barnier and Juncker were there saying no way. Today it's all back on again. I don't think so. Let's see what Boris comes back with. If it's Theresa May's deal again, actually, you know what? I don't think that's going to be good enough. Yeah. It's still got the fishing.
Do you want a deal?
Do we want a deal? We'd love a deal, but the deal has to be we're leaving. We have to be leaving where we have control of our laws and all those sorts of things. I really hope that Boris does do the right thing. I really hope he does get us out properly. My concern is that he may not. So let's see what comes back. But we'll know in the next few days.
Delay?
Do I want another note? No, what I want to leave is I want to leave on the 31st of October. Boris said, do or die, we'll be out,
not be able
no
to.
deal.
He may not be able to because of the law, the Surrender Act, the Ben Act, he may not be able to.
Okay. James and I are of the same church, which is Remainers who have accepted the result and now want to deliver Brexit, but we must get out. And the only way, we've had the absolutism, we've had the Remainers who want a referendum, we've got the extreme Brexiteers who are looking for perfection that will never materialise. We've got to go somewhere down the middle, baby.
Brendan.
But there's a difference between Remainers and Brexiteers, which is that Brexiteers won the referendum, and we live in a majoritarian democracy, and we were told that the thing that we voted for would be enacted. Now, let's look at the broader picture. I cannot remember any time in my lifetime when the political establishment has fought so hard to prevent a democratic act from coming through. To so many people out there, millions upon millions of people, this is such a disturbing political period because they were told in good faith that the thing they voted for would be respected, it would be enacted, it would be pushed through, that politicians would obey them. And now politicians, the majority of politicians, are backtracking on that. They're trying to revoke what we voted for. They're trying to keep us in the EU. They're trying to enforce a second referendum. This is a betrayal of the British people. And now, I know you're not supposed to say betrayal, you're not supposed to say sabotage, you're not supposed to say surrender.
You are in the Brexit Party.
But the thing is, it is a betrayal of democracy. They are sabotaging our vote, and they are surrendering to the European Union. The left used to believe in democracy. In fact, the left was entirely about democracy. It was about bringing working voices into politics. That's why the left was founded. What we have now is a Corbynista left, which has utterly turned its back on the working classes, a majority of whom voted Leave, by the way, and it's arguing for the reneging on those people's votes and the silencing of their voices. Corbyn, literally the only interesting thing about Jeremy Corbyn over the past 30 years is that he was Eurosceptic and he was a principled Eurosceptic. He was basically Tony Benn's bag carrier and he followed in that tradition. He has betrayed all of that simply to hold the Labour Party together. So I really dislike this idea that it's right-wing to be Eurosceptic and it's left-wing to be pro-Remain.
Our political institutions are being destroyed by this Remainer elite trying to keep us in the European Union against the will of the people. As we stand today, it's something like, 62% of Leave voters wouldn't trust their MP to do anything at all. Forget leaving the EU or remaining. We have a chance, and it's only a slim chance at this stage, of our establishment, our elites, our bodies of power, our institutions crawling out of this alive. If we do what Keir Starmer wants and we remain in the European Union for year after year, support for politics dies, support for Parliament dies, respect of institutions dies, respect to the monarchy dies, protests on the streets, it is a nightmare. And I used to work at the European Parliament. I can tell you a fact. There is nothing within this institution that is so good that it's worth ripping this country to pieces over.
Andre, thank you. I was a Remainer. I changed my mind when I realised what was going on. And I've known Nigel for years. Now, it seems to me that the European Union is no longer a union. As I said, it's become an empire. And all empires crumble at the end. And we're beginning to see the end of the European empire. So better for us to be out and to start again, surely.
European Parliament is not a democratic parliament. I mean, they can't even propose legislation. All they have to do is tick off legislation that's proposed by the unelected European Commission.
But it's become too big. You can't manipulate something that big now.
No, but the whole thing is completely an empire, and it treats European people like its subjects.
It's
I mean,
become a political organisation
it's destroyed,
rather than a financial
yeah,
organisation.
but if you look at what the EU did,
integration.
it destroyed the Greek working classes by enforcing austerity on them that they didn't want. It has imposed unelected governments on Italy. It overrode democratic votes in Ireland, the Netherlands, and France, and now it's treating Britain like a piece of crap, to be frank. So this is an empire-style institution that treats the peoples of Europe like trash. And that's the thing that shocks me most about when left-wingers rally behind the EU. I want to say to them, don't you know what it's done to Greek pensioners? Don't you know what it's done to Italian youths who are massively unemployed? Don't you know what it did to French voters and Dutch voters and British voters and Irish voters, where it forced the Irish people to accept an austerity that they voted against? This is an undemocratic, illiberal, authoritarian, neo-colonialist institution, and the sooner we leave it, the better.
I would like to ban eating on public transport, not because it'll help kids get thin, it won't, but I just think the way some people eat on public transport is disgusting. It smells, and if you want to eat, go and eat in a restaurant, go and eat at home. Do not eat in front of, it makes you feel sick. Have you ever been in a restaurant with someone stuffing your mouth and food's falling out?
It's
and
the same in offices when someone puts a curry in the microwave.
Yes,
And it
yes.
stings the place out for
Yeah.
years. We do have a big problem with obesity, though, and actually snacking is the thing. There is a whole
But it won't-
industry
look.
around snacking.
I'm completely shocked by the fact that people lament how fat kids are and they give them bus passes to go to school. What is the harm in walking
A couple
2
of
miles
yes.
to school?
I've just seen a text that came in that said, looking at the programme, James, it looks like question time on speed.